Guiding signs. How can we distinguish between an approaching sandbank or waterfall and a normal turn in the current? There are always tangible signs that will help us navigate ourselves through life. Life is constantly sending us signs. Omens are a common and well-known sign, often seen as either good or bad. For example, a rainbow is considered a good omen, while a black cat crossing your path is seen as a sign of misfortune. These beliefs arise from repeated observations and shared experiences where patterns seem to emerge. If enough people notice a connection between an event and an outcome, it becomes part of public opinion, fueled by discussions of strange phenomena. However, omens are not always reliable and don't come true as often as people think. Omens themselves have no inherent power. Their influence comes from how a person responds to them. For example, a black cat crossing your path is seen as a bad omen, but it's not the cat that affects your life, it's your belief or reaction to it. If you strongly believe in omens, they can shape your life events. If you have doubts but don't fully believe, their influence will be minimal. However, if you completely dismiss omens altogether and give them no attention, they will have no impact on your life at all. For example, in Eastern Europe and Russia, there's a superstition that returning home after you've already left, whether because you've forgotten something or for any other reason, is considered a bad omen. For someone unfamiliar with this belief, going back home for a forgotten item is a simple and straightforward decision, and they wouldn't experience any negative consequences stemming from this superstition. The principle is simple. You experience what you allow in your life script. If you see omens as mere superstitions, they won't show up as valid in your reality. However, for those who believe in them and look for confirmation, omens will seem real in their world. If omens don't directly influence events, what do we mean by guiding signs? A black cat itself doesn't affect you, but it can act as a signal for something further along the alt flow. Once you start paying attention, you'll notice signs everywhere. The challenge lies in recognizing which signs truly guide you and how to interpret them, though interpretation is a broader and less straightforward topic. All you can reliably do is increase your inner guardian's level of watchfulness and vigilance, notice the sign, and take its presence into account. Guiding signs indicate a potential shift in the alternative's flow, signaling an event that could significantly alter the course of daily life. Whether you're anticipating a change or an unexpected turn is approaching, a sign often appears to mark its arrival. The following are my own most recent personal examples. Before I left Canada for Romania, where I currently am now as of this recording, to give me the space and time to do this work, I was learning about tarot and started pulling one card each day to really familiarize myself with the meanings. Strangely, approximately 2 weeks before my departure, I pulled the death card 3 days in a row. Was it coincidence? I don't think so. Tarot, much like dreams, is a way of communicating with yourself. It's subtle, but can be profoundly powerful. However, it's important to be mindful not to inadvertently program future scenarios into your subconscious. And just for reference, the probability of pulling the death card 3 days in a row is approximately 1 in 474,552, which makes it an extremely rare event. Here's the second example circling the same shift in the alternatives flow and life event. One random evening before leaving for Romania, I decided to visit my childhood home in Canada, 1 hour away from where I resided in Toronto. Nobody I know lives there anymore, but I felt drawn to see it after more than a decade. As I pulled up, I saw a man walking by with a crow perched on his shoulder. Naturally, I had to stop him and ask what was going on. He told me the crow had just landed there and he had no idea why. I found it peculiar. Now, in Romania, I am absolutely surrounded by crows and have had numerous serendipitous encounters, too many to go into detail now. One morning, I was seeking guidance and validation about moving forward with my project, Deus Sub Rosa. I had just arrived at my apartment in Romania and was rummaging through the cupboard after making pour-over coffee. As I opened the cupboard above my coffee mug, I accidentally knocked over a tea bag. It landed perfectly upright facing me. Looking closer, I realized it was the only tea bag outside the box, and it had Rosa written on it. Full body goosebumps followed, along with a wave of gratitude to the universe for its reassurance and guidance. The butterfly is one of my spirit animals, especially at this stage of my life, as it represents transformation. A while ago, I asked the universe to show me butterflies as a sign that I'm on the right path and as reassurance. I've never seen more butterflies than I do now. They're everywhere, bringing me a deep sense of peace. When I see one in an unexpected place, I know without a doubt that I'm aligned with where I need to be. You can do the same. All of these expressions of butterflies are in my apartment in Romania, except the doormat, which is my next door neighbor's. Even my toilet paper has butterflies on it, and I didn't even buy the toilet paper. Okay, enough about me, let's get back to it. When the alternatives flow shifts, you move to a different lifeline, which may vary in quality of life. The flow can cross multiple lifelines with different parameters. While changes may be minor, you'll sense a difference either consciously or a subtle feeling that something has shifted. Guiding signs only appear when a shift to a different lifeline is initiated. If, for example, you pay no particular attention to a separate event such as a crow squawking, if it doesn't put you on guard and you don't feel any qualitative difference in that moment, it suggests that you're on the same lifeline as before. If, however, the phenomenon does attract your attention and you feel that there's something unusual or odd about it, then it's probably a sign. A sign stands out because it marks the beginning of a shift to a new lifeline that differs significantly from the current one. These signs can feel unsettling, especially right after the shift, because the new lifeline feels qualitatively different in a way that's hard to rationalize. You might sense that something is off or notice subtle changes in the types of signs you encounter. Some people are unaware of most of what is happening around them, and so are unlikely to notice even the most obvious signs. Generally speaking though, if we fail to notice anything unusual about an event that takes place on our current lifeline, it is probably because it's the same quality as all the other phenomenon we experience. The shift to a substantially different lifeline normally occurs gradually, passing through intermediate lines along the way. The signs on these lines can appear as warnings with different levels of severity. Sometimes, a person ignores their first warning. The shift continues, and then a second warning appears, and then a third, and if the person has not recognized the danger, an event finally occurs that is encoded in the final line of the shift. Interpreting signs clearly can be challenging, and it's not always certain whether something is truly a sign. However, you can take it as the world attempting to communicate with you. Since we're mainly concerned with potential obstacles or shifts ahead, it's helpful to seek guidance. One practical approach is to explore the meaning of a sign by asking a simple yes or no question to clarify its message. For example, will it work out or not? Will I get it done in time or not? Will I be successful in doing something or not? Is it good or bad? Dangerous or not? And so on. The interpretation of a sign should be simplified enough to hint at a positive or negative type answer. There's no point in expecting a high level of precise detail. A sign offers a clue about the nature of an upcoming turn in the alt flow. If it triggers unpleasant feelings like anxiety or unease, it likely signals a negative shift. If your feelings are unclear, don't overanalyze the sign. It may be too subjective to interpret accurately. Signs can serve as warnings to be cautious, so adjust your behavior or stop a particular action. It's essential to neither dismiss a sign nor give it excessive importance. Instead, take note without letting it overly concern you. We would suggest keeping in mind this simple, reliable exercise as a way of recognizing your inner no. If you have to convince yourself and talk yourself into saying yes, then your soul is really saying no. When your soul says yes, you do not have to talk yourself into it. We will return and explore this topic a little bit more later on in the program.